بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته and welcome to our latest session on the refinement of souls of Imam Ibn Atā'illah al-Sikandari rahimahullah ta'ala. Last time we were talking about the remembrance of the afterlife and imminence of the departure from this world and how that should help us to rectify our affairs, how it should help us to get our priorities sorted and to work for that next life. Imam Ibn Atā'illah then goes on to talk about the reality of faith. And he says that when you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your faith is like that of the eclipsed sun or a lamp covered with a plate. So we have Iman, which is light, and kufr, disbelief, is darkness. So the Iman is within us, but when we disobey Allah, when we turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're covering that light. It's still there, alhamdulillah, but we are covering the light. And it's blocked from showing, because you see somebody insane, you see somebody in disobedience, you don't see faith, you don't see goodness. And therefore we need to uncover that and remove that barrier that covers our hearts and do tawbah and turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says you attend the gathering, gatherings at the mosques to enrich your mind. Even if your life is short, it is stretched because of faith, humility, subservience, awe of the divine, pondering, reflection, and so forth. So it doesn't matter how long we got left, and we talked about this last time. We should always be striving to use whatever moments we have to make a change, and to go to the places where we will find this aid to uncovering our defects and removing the sins and so forth. And it says if you had realized true faith, you would not have approached disobedience. There is no debtor more procrastinating than the self, no enemy greater than the devil, and no opponent stronger than whim. And these are obviously your nafs and your desires, and the shaitan are the strongest and most severe and hostile of enemies that could ever be. And so we need to always be aware of the plots and the conspiracies and the tricks of shaitan and so forth. And we need to always remember that we have to seek aid from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and turn to Him continuously. And this is what it says: nothing repels the descent of divine succor like pride. So we won't get that help if we have pride. Rain only settles on shallow lands. Those people are humble and lower themselves. Allah, as the hadith says, whoever lowers himself for Allah, whoever is humble for Allah, Allah raises him up. So to be close to Allah and to be great in the sight of Allah, have humbleness on the earth. And that's where the water settles. It doesn't settle on the mountaintops. It rains there, but where does it eventually go to? It goes to the bottom, and that's where the benefit is. People go to the water. People need water to survive. Water is the source of life. This is not a mountain peak. Similarly, mercy falls from the hearts of the arrogant and descends on the hearts of the humble, like those who are low. Right? So we need to lower ourselves and humble ourselves. And this is a metaphor in the Quran. Lower the wing of humility. جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, out of humility, out of mercy, out of kindness. And then it says here, what is meant by the arrogant are those who rebuff Allah's right, not those who clothed are elegant. However, pride is the denunciation of Allah's right and contempt for people. So this is, the Prophet was asked, the Prophet said, the arrogant one will not enter paradise. And so the one full of pride will not enter paradise. So the companions, they got a bit worried that, we have pride in our clothing, we have pride in our belongings, we feel a sense of, pride or, honor in what we have and respect. So they said, O Messenger of Allah, if we do this, we won't go to paradise. So the Prophet said, no. Pride, kibr, this arrogance in a sense, is to reject the truth, to deny faith, to say, I don't accept that. When people give you Islam, teach you the right things, and you say, no, I don't accept that, I don't think that's right. And people, become Shaykh al-Islam and Mufti and Maulana and know the answers, and they don't want to accept. There's a rejection there, there's an arrogance there. That arrogance is what the Prophet was talking about. And he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the one who looks down on people, the one who has this sense of grandeur over people. So this is what will destroy a person. This arrogance is what the Prophet ﷺ is referring to, and we mean what we mean when we say arrogance is a destructive character trait, is a destructive, inner immoral action. To just be happy of your belongings without having any sort of pride over others or thinking you're better than others, but just happy with what you have. And I think we all have that. We're happy with our clothes, we're happy with sometimes our mobile phones today. We don't think, oh, I'm better than everyone else because I've got this mobile. If you do, that's going into the wrong kind of category of pride and having this honor of what you have. We should be honored with what we have because Allah has given it to us, and we should be happy for that reason. And if Allah has given us something, we should use it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's a different type of having honor and respect for something. And then he says, amazing thing here, and a very important thing, don't think that just people with wealth and status are the ones that get arrogant. So he says, do not think that pride is only found in a vizier or an affluent person. On the contrary, it may be found in someone who does not have supper for the night, yet he sows corruption, does not rectify matters because he disdained Allah's Most High's right. So arrogance can occur in different ways. The most common and most obvious for us is that a wealthy, strong, affluent, powerful person looks down on somebody else in some way or other, or thinks he's better than others in some way or other, and shows that arrogance. That's common, but it doesn't mean that the person who's on the receiving end can't be arrogant in his own way or in his own actions. And that is to be what? Is to do things incorrectly, is to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because what you actually are saying, I don't care about what's this command? Who cares about these commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's arrogance. That's rude. That's a level of insolence, like this haughtiness that you don't care about these commands, you don't care about Allah's injunctions. That's dangerous, right? That is really dangerous, because when you reject that, the Prophet said you don't enter paradise, meaning you go to hell, right? So he said it leads to disbelief. It could lead to disbelief, because that's what happened for Shaitan. His arrogance in himself and his envy of Adam and etc. Abba, he refused. He disobeyed, in other words. Wastakbara, and he became haughty, thinking himself to be great and the best and so forth. Kana min al-kafirin. Right? And then he became from the disbelievers. He became a disbeliever. Right? So this is something we need to be careful about, that we don't disobey Allah's commands, and then we bring this sort of level of disobedience or refusal. When you don't want to obey, you don't want to give in, you want to just hold your ground, as this is no holding ground with Allah. We are nothing before Allah's commands and what Allah wants from us. So we should always submit and surrender and never ever contest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His commands. Lillahi al-khalqu wal-amr, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, to Allah belongs the khalq wal-amr, and the command. So just as we don't contest Allah and His creation, He created everything. As believers, we don't say the trees were made by somebody else, or we can make trees, or we can compete with Allah, or we can deny Allah's creation. The creation belongs to Allah. His is the act of creating and no one else's. And also the command belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody else can command us. Every single command we follow is a command of Allah. We follow Allah's command and the messenger of Allah, and even those with authority after them, but only if the command, and of course for the Prophet ﷺ it always is and will be, but even after that we follow the commands of people as long as they command us to obey Allah and His messenger. That's the goal. That's what it all comes down to. To Allah belongs the command. So just like we don't contest the creation of Allah, we don't have an argument there, we don't have an issue there. Of course Allah is the creator, then of course Allah is the commander, is the one who has control, is the all-powerful, is his imperative, and what He commands us and what He asks us to do, there should be no second guessing, second opinion, thought, reviewing. Is a command of Allah, submit, surrender. And this is the danger when we don't do that. We become arrogant, we think we know better, and that's a dangerous road to tread on. And then he says, don't think the unfortunate person is someone who is a war captive or a prisoner. On the contrary, the truly unfortunate person is someone who disobeys Allah, who's a captive of his sins, and brings into His pure kingdom the filth of disobedience. Right? Allah created us and put us on this earth to do good, to achieve a lot of great things. And if we use that time and effort and energy to bring evil into this world and to do bad, then that is a really, really unfortunate person, right? A really, really miserable person. There are many who spend dinars and dirhams, while those who spend tears are few. So Imam Ghazali mentioned, Imam Ibn Atā'illah mentions these statements to arouse in us a kind of awaken, isn't it, a kind of reaction, a kind of emotion that, we hope that you're listening to this and thinking, right, where am I? Am I obeying Allah? Am I bringing light into this world? Am I bringing darkness? Am I a source of light or darkness? What is in my heart? Have I covered my heart and just full of darknesses? I'm not allowing that iman to blossom and flourish. Where do I stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Ramadan is imminent. It's around the corner. Alhamdulillah. And how do I improve my prayer? How do I make sure my fasting is proper and good? How do I do a beautiful fast? Fasting isn't just stopping ourselves from eating and drinking and our desires. It's actually a lot more than that. Allah wants us to learn God consciousness. Allah wants us to trust in Him. Allah wants us to turn to Him. Allah wants us to feel His power and grandeur over us, right? And this fasting is a means of helping us to control that desire and our nafs, as we mentioned at the beginning, that they are our worst enemies. So fasting is a time of improvement. Fasting is a time of the believers banquet. It's a time to really go and enjoy yourself in fasting, in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the month of the Qur'an. It's the month of standing in prayer. I mean, which other month do we read so much Qur'an, and in which other month do we stand the night in prayer for so long, in the Taraweeh prayers and other nawafil extra prayers? It's such a blessed time, and we find the energy somehow. 30 days, 29, 30 days fasting, 29, 30 days of prayers, 29, 30 days of self-control, sacrifice, generosity. We give more, we want to give more, we know the rewards are there, we feel the need to give, we are excited to help and get involved. So much in this month we share so much with the community, iftars, and I encourage people to organize community iftars and invite your neighbors, Muslim and non-Muslims. Share your Ramadan, share your iftar, share it with the less fortunate as well, and invite them if they are local to you, or go out and feed the homeless and share your iftar, and obviously donate to those charities that support humanitarian causes that are much needed. But please, this is a time where we realize how to be Muslims. But the problem is we just realize for 30 days and then we just go back to being what? We're still Muslims. So what do we go back to being? Bad Muslims, I suppose, right? We just lost the idea of what we're supposed to be doing. But it's a proof against us, because Allah has shown you and I that we can be good Muslims for 30 days. So there's no reason we can't carry that on for the next 11 months. So the reason why that should stop. Okay, we can't keep the same volume and level, of course there is that, but we can still remain praying 5 times a day. We can still remain staying away from backbiting and wronging others and arguments. We can still stay away from looking at haram things, stay away from our desires and whims in general, right? And we can still continue to support good causes and invite people and interact with our neighbors in a good way and be proactive in all of these things, really. But we seem to shut down the night before Eid, basically, right? And all of a sudden it's just back to normal and everyone gets out and does everything. And so really, when we start Ramadan, I think this is the mistake we make. We're going to Ramadan thinking 30 days. No, I think my message for you today would be going to Ramadan thinking the rest of your life. This Ramadan is the Ramadan that will make everything change from now till I die. From now until I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my life needs to change, because I can do it in this month, and I'm going to be trying really hard, and I have the support of the community. So go to the masajid, go to the community events, get involved. Don't sit at home, especially if you're not a big family or you're away from home or something like that. But really try and get involved with other Muslims in the community. Many, if you don't live close to a masjid, then go to the masjid for iftar. Spend time in the masjid, drive to the masjid, a masjid for Taraweeh. Don't just sit at home. Make an effort to get involved. Those of you living obviously in the communities where there are masajid and events going on, invite others, facilitate for others, share with others, encourage, be kind, make more efforts, because this Ramadan could be the one that changes so many people for the better, that changes the lives of so many people, that we can then give back more to the community. Because if the more of us change and more of us start doing good, then that's more people calling to good, that's more people being positive in society, that's more people just bringing about positive energy and blessings and goodness. So the more we help others, the more we're helping everybody, right? The more we help somebody that can help somebody else, the more we are passing on the goodness. And this is what we are here for, right? This is what the Prophet said, continue to spread the goodness, tell people about me. If it's one thing, if you start something good, then you'll get the reward of everyone who does that good. If you pass, the one who indicates or guides to good, الدال على الخير كفاعله ومن دل على الخير كفاعله. The one who guides to good is like the one who does it. So if you show people to do good this Ramadan and help them to pray and teach them the Qur'an and teach them about the Prophet ﷺ, teach them good, then you will have the rewards of everything they do. Become a teacher to the basic level, even if it's children, nephews, nieces. Have a positive environment for everybody, and take heed of the advice of Imam Ibn Atā'illah, and don't be somebody who doesn't shed those tears. Don't be somebody who doesn't reflect on himself. Don't be somebody who doesn't think about his akhirah. Don't be somebody who's just heedless. All these elements should bring us really to a very serious stage of our lives to reflect and to change and to improve. And that's what I hope we can take from these sessions, inshallah ta'ala. I really hope those of you who are watching benefit from this. Thank you very much for listening and being a part of this once again. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.